Hello everyone and welcome to the Bosqueenet Adventure. My name's Jeff and today I want to preview with you a piece of gear that I recently received. One that will help me stay warm on these cold and snowy adventures. The piece of gear that I want to preview with you is the OneTigris Obsidian Insulated Sleeping Pad. Now before we begin, I want to let you know that OneTigris has not sponsored this video. This is a piece of gear that I purchased with my own money. I had been looking for quite a while now for a insulated sleeping pad, and I happened upon this one, and I figured I'd give it a try. I also wanted to take the opportunity to show all of you this piece of gear, as it's relatively new to the market. Now, as we begin, I want to share with you some of the specs. What is it? What's included? What's this all about? The specs say that this is a 4-season, 5.2 R-valued insulated sleeping pad. The dimensions when inflated are 24.8 inches by 74.4 inches, or 63 by 189 centimeters. The thickness is 3.15 inches, or 8 centimeters. All packaged up, this comes in at 5.1 inches by 11 inches, or 13 by 28 centimeters. The weight is 2.05 pounds, or 0.93 kilograms. The pad is made from a 20 denier nylon outer shell, which OneTigris states is waterproof. It also has multiple aluminum-coated TPU membrane layers. The pad is 7 layers in total. Included in the package is the stuff sack, the pad itself, an inflation bag, and a repair kit should you get any nicks or scratches. I do appreciate the fact that upon purchasing this sleeping pad, it came with all of those items. I didn't have to purchase anything additional in order to use this sleeping pad. The ad on Amazon states that this pad has been SGS tested. In fact, it states that this has occurred on January 29th of 2024. I'll show you the results of this test now. It shows that the pad actually tested at a 6.2 R rating. So, is OneTigris just being conservative? Is the test liberal? We're going to find out tonight. Now, the ad does state that this pad is ultralight. Granted, it is definitely not as heavy as some, other car camping sleeping pads. But as far as ultralight, I don't think so. It's definitely not as light as a Thermarest, Neo Air X-Lite, one of those pads. Those usually come in at the 1 pound mark. Well, like I said, this one comes in at 2 pounds. Now, the difference between a pad like this and a Thermarest or a Nemo or any of those other brands is this one comes in at a much cheaper price. So if you can handle, the extra pound in your backpack, perhaps your wallet will appreciate the lighter cost. At the time of shooting this video, I was able to purchase this pad for $79 on Amazon. Now, comparing again to a Thermarest or a Big Agnes or a Nemo sleeping pad, which usually comes in at the $200 mark, I would say that that's some considerable savings. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get this set up in the tent here. And over the course of the campout, my adventure for this evening, I'll let you know how it fares. And I'll be sure to let you know in the morning if it did its job and kept me insulated from this snowy ground. All right, so like I said, this was a full package deal. It should have an inflation sack inside of it. I will utilize it, see how easy that is to inflate the bag. Now, another thing to note is when you are having a cold, snowy adventure like this, it's best not to inflate these by your breath. You don't want that moisture inside your sleeping pad. There's the repair kit. Comes with some elastic bands to keep it all situated and put together. That's nice. And right there is the inflation sack. Now, geez, that thing is way bigger than what I thought it would be. That's nice. It has the inlet valve just right here. Let's go ahead and get this attached and see how easy this is. Oh, it looks like it's got 2 stages to it. There we go. Just like that. Get some air in there. Right, one more just for good measure, and we'll be done. And it does have a stop valve, so I don't have to worry about that coming deflated on me as I pull the pump sack off. Wow, okay. All right, everyone. It's later on. The sun has set. It's really starting to get cold out. I'm going to head to bed, and I can't wait to try out this new insulated sleeping pad from OneTigris. I will check back with you all in the morning to let you know how it went. See if it truly did insulate me from the ground. I have high hopes. OneTigris usually makes pretty good gear. So I'll see you all in the morning with my review of how everything went. It's gotten a little chilly, like, oh my goodness. So let me tell you about things. So I probably went to bed at somewhere around 8:30. I was just tuckered out from doing all the trudging around in the snow and getting all camp ready and everything else. I mean, I was worn out. So early bedtime for me. Then somewhere around, I would say about 10:30, I woke up because I was like super warm. And I checked the temperature, and it was still somewhere around, I don't know, somewhere still in the 30s, about 31 degrees still. I mean, it was pretty warm. So I ended up unzipping my sleeping bag and, just using it as a quilt, and I laid directly on the sleeping mat. And that was awesome. I slept very well. And then somewhere around 2 a.m., the temperature just absolutely dropped. Just dropped. So let me show you how cold it is inside the tent. We dropped to 15 degrees inside the tent. Like, oh my goodness. Wow, it got cold. And it's telling me that the coldest that it got last night inside the tent was 10 degrees. So, it's gotten a little bit chilly. Now, I'm not worried about the cold at all. It just adds to the adventure and the trip, right? So, my initial impressions of the OneTigris Obsidian Insulated sleeping pad is that it adequately did its job. I've never had a sleeping pad like this, and it performed exactly as I had hoped. I haven't had any cold spots underneath me the whole night. Like I said, at one point during the night, I just decided to sleep directly on the pad itself. That's how good it was keeping the cold out from underneath me. So that is a little chilly. And as it says, the coldest it got last night was 1 degree. Oh my goodness. That's chilly, and that's in Fahrenheit, guys. So it's a chilly one. My first impressions. Certainly seems to be a 5.2 R-rated, insulated sleeping pad. I didn't have any cold spots underneath me all night long. In fact, there was a point during the night, I know I mentioned this already, where I was so warm that I just decided to unzip my sleeping bag and use it as a quilt. And I just laid directly on top of the sleeping pad. I was warm. I didn't feel any cold coming up from the ground. And it's really cold out here right now. Now, when I went to bed, it was in the 30s. But as you could see earlier, I mean, it dipped down to 1 degree Fahrenheit. So it got just a little bit cold out there. And it has done a fantastic job keeping the cold out. I know I've still got a lot of testing to do with it, for durability's sake, just to see if it's long lasting. But most of the products that I've purchased from OneTigris, I have a couple other things from them, they seem to hold up pretty well. Overall, I'm happy with the purchase that I made. I think it's fantastic that I'm able to pick up a sleeping pad of this quality for such a good price. I mean, $80, guys, compared to the hundreds of dollars that you'll spend for a Thermarest or something like that. Granted, if you can't add that 1 pound to your overall backpack weight, then I guess you're stuck spending the kind of money on a more expensive pad. But if you have no problems carrying that extra pound of weight, I mean, I think it's worth it. There are a few other things that I've noticed about the pad too. I've watched, because I've been looking for an insulated sleeping pad, I've watched a ton of reviews. And everyone always says how some of the pads out there are like loud. So as you lay on it and roll around at night, there's noise, associated with the sleeping pad. I'm not going to say that there was no noise with this one, but it wasn't to the point that it bothered me or woke me up. It seemed like a pretty quiet pad. The comfort of the pad, I love the design. It kind of has that honeycomb design to it, and it was comfortable. I didn't feel like any low spots or high spots. Overall, for me, it was quite comfortable. Now, the shape of it is a rectangular sleeping pad. So for those of you who stick your pad inside your sleeping bag, this may not work well for you. You'll probably need to get something with a different shape. So maybe sometime here in the future, OneTigris will decide to do kind of that oval-shaped sleeping pad so that individuals could put that into their sleeping bag. So for right now, this version, the shape of it is rectangular. All right, so to wrap up my preview of the OneTigris Obsidian Insulated Sleeping Pad, I give it a thumbs up. I mean, it really worked out well. It kept the cold ground away from me. I didn't feel any cold spots during the night. It was quite excellent. So if you're considering purchasing an insulated sleeping pad here in the near future, you may want to give this one a look. I did add a link in the description below, just in case you couldn't find it. If you like the content that I'm producing, be sure to give this video a like, a thumbs up, and consider subscribing. It would really help the channel. And if you had any questions about the OneTigris Obsidian Insulated Sleeping Pad, just let me know down in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer any questions for you. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you all later. Bye now.